What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get a little spicy. So y'all know normally before I do my reviews or my Real Housewives reviews, there's normally a spicy corner. Well, baby, I had too much stuff saved in my phone as it pertains to Real Housewives of Atlanta, so I decided to do a standalone spicy corner. So let's get into the mess. All right, y'all. So before we get into the mess, let's have a schedule update. So this was posted by OMFG Reality TV on June the 20th. It is basically updating the schedule or letting us know the schedule as it pertains to Real Housewives of Atlanta. So season 16's finale will air on June the 29th. And then part one of the reunion will air on July the 13th. And it seems like there will be no episode on July the 6th. I don't know why we're not getting an episode on July the 6th. I don't know why they're prolonging the reunion. In all honesty, I hope this is a two-part reunion. It doesn't need three parts. Honestly, it could be one and we keep it pushing. But that is just an update for you guys who wanted to know about what's coming up next. So moving on, let's talk about Shamea, because congratulations are in order. So it looks like she finally put out the t-shirt song that we heard in this season, and the snippet that was attached to it actually sounded pretty nice. It's available on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Tidal. So check it out. Got my t-shirt on. Okay. So this is kind of an update to a situation. So y'all know Drew was singing at I look like a fair or a festival, and Mama Dee introduced her to the crowd. But she basically called out Porsha. And pretty much, this is coming from Bravo Shade Room, but it says Mama Dee says she doesn't know why Porsha would think Drew wants her hot dog man. And that caused Porsha to respond to Mama Dee in the comment sections. And we thought that was it. Well, Scrappy decided to hop on live, call Porsha a bitch, and lament about how the girls who are on Real Housewives of Atlanta think they better than the Love and Hip Hop girls. So he said something. Then next thing you know, Mama Dee says something about Porsha as it pertains to the whole situation as well. So I'm going to play both clips back to back. I'm going to speed them up as well, okay?
Come on, Drew.
Yes, Drew!
Yeah! You know, she got her and Porsha, they got some mess going on. I don't know what's going on with Porsha this season.
Check.
But she accused of Drew for taking her hot dog man. I don't know why she think Drew want a hot dog man. Yeah. It's all good because Mama Dee speak that truth. Y'all give it up for Drew Sador!
Housewives of Atlanta bitches always be talking shit about Love and Hip Hop folk. I be sitting there looking, I be like, why am I seeing this on Instagram? Like, Real Housewives motherfucker getting that. I be like, cause y'all on a whole nother network, but y'all didn't even make, man, listen. But we ain't even hurting over here. Like, everybody good, just like y'all good, but y'all ain't trying to see us on no negative shit, though. Y'all ain't trying to see our women on no negative shit. Y'all stay in y'all little humble places. Stay in y'all humble places. Y'all don't want to see none of our women on that ignorant shit. Y'all, Porsha, oh yeah, you got it, my mama. I heard, yeah, she got it too, but she was just being a mama. But I guarantee you, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't give a fuck about nothing. I don't care about who your baby daddy is, who your husband is. I don't care about none of that shit. Like, I'm the one. That nigga can come holler at me. Cause we all negative. I be negative. I go all the way negative. And I'll be there for your husband or your baby daddy or whoever. But I ain't gonna lie, your baby daddy did say he fuck with me, so I fuck with him too. I really do fuck with him cause I see what he be doing before all this shit right here. So I respect her. But hey, man, listen, Mom Dukes is off. Man, that shit off the table at all times. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just handle my business. Get about 8 ugly bitches. Have them come run up on you. You feel what I'm saying? See what's really good. You wanna holler at the old lady? I got some young people about your height. You know what I'm saying? About your side. You know what I'm saying? I was just playing. I just wanna talk shit cause I ain't got shit to talk.
Does not mean that. He just went after a certain person, and they know who they are too. They know who they are too. So y'all stop getting defensive. Don't do that. He means you no harm. Stay out of it, because when I say, I feel like the housewives Mama D gonna say it. Y'all put on $5,000, $10,000 outfits and go back and forth with each other. That shit. No. Let me tell you what Love and Hip Hop Atlanta do. We put on tennis shoes and take off our earrings, bitches. And we gets to it. So never put yourself on our level and don't belittle us. You know what I mean? Because y'all, some of y'all is name chasing and money chasing. Getting things you can't afford out of men. I never walk into a situation with not knowing who I'm dealing with. I know your secrets. I know your family secrets. What your dad didn't do, your granddad didn't do. I know everything. Please leave me alone and be quiet. Shh. And we'll be quiet back at you. If you come back, here it goes. And we're at war. Donald Trump ain't got shit on the palace. Me and Drew, we good. All this stuff comes from y'all. Me and Drew having a gig together. And I said, I can't believe Porsha's coming after you for her baby's father hot dog stand. And now it just went. So Porsha came at me and I went back at her. But he came for me too. He hit me, but he got off of me. And he said, I fucks with Scrappy. So let me tell you something. For you to get on, period, with two bitches, you were wrong. That's why, y'all, Scrappy came at his ass. So if I were them, stay the fuck back. Because I'm not going to say nothing past this. But if I see or I hear something, if I were them, learn Black American history before you come at Mama D. Hear about why Rosa Parks didn't lose her seat. Hear why when slavery was abolished, that it was learned in certain counties in Georgia. So if you don't know that, if you ain't did your study, if you're not a college graduate, because my major was, okay, let me hear you, woohoo, was biology. My minor was history. And that is including Black history. And American history, unfortunately.
Here's the thing. This is stupid to me. It is so stupid. I wish Porsha and Dennis wouldn't have responded to Mama D, because I knew Scrappy was going to come and defend his mom, and I knew Mama D was going to come out and say something. But in all honesty, they had a right to respond. Mama D wanted to be shady when she was introducing Drew, which to me is messed up to Drew, because it's like, girl, why are you trying to shroud my performance in shadiness and make it about Porsha and Dennis when this is about me? And them responding, I thought was fine. They kept it, kind of classy, if you ask me. Scrappy getting on live talking, I'm like, this happened almost 2 weeks ago, or maybe even longer. I'm just kind of like, bro, you late. And on top of that, you didn't have to call the women out their names. Why are you calling them housewife bitches? Like, is it that deep to you? And I don't know, he could have been joking, but it still was like, why did you need to say that? And let's be honest, ain't nobody running to, like, if there were two jobs on the table, one to Love and Hip Hop and the other one to Real Housewives of Atlanta, everybody's going to Real Housewives of Atlanta because the check is better. We know Mona is paying y'all in buckets of chicken and a Metro card. Like, let's be honest. Y'all might, you, Scrappy, Bambi's and them might be getting more money, but I know the new people on that show not getting nothing. So let's not play them games. And Mama D thinking she has the right to check somebody or threaten to fight somebody. Lady, go sit down and worry about your dentures. Like, I can't stand when old people want to get buck and want to get nasty after they get disrespectful because they don't think you can disrespect them back. Like, and people being like, Porsha shouldn't have said nothing. Mama D's an elder. If she was an elder that was worthy of respect, that's one thing, but don't be out here being disrespectful and thinking ain't nobody gonna say something to you. So to me, this is stupid. So since we talked about Porsha, it looks like Porsha just released a People magazine I guess interview, kind of say. Honestly, the only thing I want to talk about is this cover, because she's reenacting Angela Bassett's like iconic moment for Waiting to Excel. And it doesn't make any sense because, girl, Angela Bassett had every right to set that car on fire. every right to set that car on fire and rip up that man's clothes. You, on the other hand, married a scammer that you knew was a scammer. Let's call a thing a thing. But let me read a few passages, and y'all know the link for this article will be in the description box below. But it says this: it's been 30 years since the iconic scene, but the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Porsha, its message of rage and resilience couldn't be more relevant. As she posed for people's reenactment of the moment and more memorable images from the film on May the 16th in her hometown of Atlanta, she was processing her own feelings of betrayal and loss in real time. I didn't expect today to be emotional, she said on set, but the moment I sat down at the vanity and started brushing my hair just like Angela in the movie, it hit me. I've prettied up the ugly in my life too when I wasn't so pretty, and I'm done doing that. It goes on to say she means it. Just weeks after the shoot, following the intense legal battle, Williams' divorce from Simon Guobadia was finalized on June the 11th by a Georgia judge. Guobadia, 61, appeared on Zoom from his native Nigeria, where he was deported to from the U.S. because of immigration violations, including bank and credit card fraud. You go through different stages, says Williams, 44, who returned to Bravo's show this season after 3-year hiatus. You have that anger, you have that moment where you have to fight for your life in a court situation. And then towards the end, you have the clarity where you realize you are still blessed. Your family is by our side. Your child is protected. There's a whole new life that you can start. It's like 20 something pages, y'all. So if you want to read it, check it out. So continuing on with Porsha, let's talk about Cynthia. So we all know Cynthia has a podcast with Crystal from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills called The Humble Brag. And she actually talked about Porsha's performance at the reunion. So it says this: Cynthia teased on The Humble Brag that Porsha had a great reunion and controlled the reunion from the time she sat down. So let me play what Cynthia said.
Such a tough season. Maybe this is just the OG thing at this point, because she's kind of considered OG.
She's very OG.
She came in my opinion, she controlled that reunion from the time she sat down until she left. She totally did what needed to be done, said what needed to be said, and I don't think she's going to have any issues next season coming back, for sure.
She was ready.
Yeah. And trust me, it's like when you have a tough season, especially even where the fans are like dragging you and stuff, to come in and
she's an OG.
Fix it. Like,
wow.
It was definitely a fix it Jesus moment in the words of Phadrea Parks. Wow. She fixed it Jesus, in my opinion.
She fixed it Jesus.
Yeah,
I love all of these lines. They're so good.
Porsha had an excellent reunion.
Okay.
And coming in like in that situation and being in the hot seat, like I was really curious how it was all going to go out. But, she had a whole tough season for a lot of reasons, like going through that divorce and this. And remember her husband.
Yeah.
He was detained by ICE, but now he's out. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, he just got out like a week ago. Well, he got deported. He went to, they deported him back to Nigeria.
Yes, I read something.
But apparently he's in Dubai now too.
So here's my thing. Did Porsha have an easy reunion, or was she really in charge of the girls? Was she really besting her, opponents? Because I'm like, okay, if she was able to take control of the reunion from start to finish, is that because, the girls were challenging her, or she was just winning arguments? Or is it because there's nobody there who could really get with Porsha? Like, we don't have a Kenya, we don't have a Nene, we don't have a Sheree or a Claudia Jordan or a Eva or a Marlo. We don't have a Candy. Like, the people who probably could go toe to toe with Porsha, like Cynthia or Phadrea, are on her side. She's at odds with Drew and Shamea, but Drew and Shamea they're not a part of the original clique, which is, Cynthia, Porsha, and Phadrea. So there's some type of camaraderie there. And there's a level of like, girl, we've been in the trenches that Shamea and Drew haven't had. And then Angela and Kelli, this is their first reunion. So they're not going to know how to behave or what all of this entails. So I'm like, okay, Cynthia, you saying all of this, but like, what was the parameters? Like, there was nobody really there for her to really go at it with other than Shamea and Drew. And Drew's reunions aren't the best. Neither is Porsha's. And Shamea, sometimes she get in where she fit in, but she's always been a friend of. So it's like she's never had to be there all day. So maybe being there might, dull your senses when it comes to arguing. But moving on, let's talk about Phadrea. So Phadrea also talked about the reunion. So let's hear what she had to say.
Talk about Brit. She skipped the reunion. What can you tell us about this?
Well, I expected her to be there. She picked up her dress, and I know she got a manicure and pedicure in preparation for the reunion. So I was utterly shocked when I found out she wasn't there. I had no idea she wasn't coming. So it was a huge shock to me.
And yeah, have you been in touch with her at all since then?
I had sent her a wonderfully gorgeous bouquet of flowers before the reunion, the day before, just to encourage her. And she had a death in her family. So she sent me a text, and, that's about the extent of it. She, thanking me for the flowers, and I just, wish her the best of luck.
But you haven't communicated at all since?
Well, I mean, yes, we're still in a good place.
Okay. And what about Kenya being disinvited? What can you tell us about that?
Well, I don't know, because the whole Kenya scenario happened well before I returned, and so I can't speak on it because I have no information on it.
Were you expecting her to be there?
I was only there for 10 days, so, the network obviously makes their decision, so I was just happy to be there.
Are there any other surprises we'll see at the reunion?
Oh, there will be quite a few surprises and a lot of secrets revealed. So it's definitely a got you moment for a few of our housewives.
How dramatic does it get?
It's very dramatic, but most reunions are dramatic. Everyone's dressed in absolutely perfect clothes, but perfection, yes, perfection with a purpose, because the peaches will be turning.
I like that. We see you next season.
You will definitely see me next season. I was only on 10 days working this season, so I'm coming back ready to have some housewives.
So I don't really have any high expectations when it comes to the reunion. I am interested to see what a reunion looks like with Porsha in control. Okay. But Phadrea saying what she said, the dramatics, the theatrics, kind of what she said is true. That always happens at the reunion. It's always dramatic, but it will be interesting to see like what's to come of it. Now, I am going to play for you guys a Watch What Happens live clip where Angela and Cynthia were featured guests, and Charles was there, and they actually did a game where they talked about the reunion, and they had some pretty interesting responses to the different questions Andy asked them about the reunion. But yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it, but I am interested in it, which is weird because it's like we don't really have to have a reunion, but I am interested to see like what is this gonna really be a train wreck? I didn't expect Phadrea to say anything when it came to Kenya because she just got back in the good graces of the network, and she's back on the show that she wanted to be on, which was Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I knew she wasn't going to say anything derogatory about the network because she wasn't going to mess up her opportunity. And I mean, I don't blame her because, you finally got good where you wanted to be. Why mess it up for somebody that you don't really have like a relationship with? It seems like Kenya and Phadrea are cool, but like it's more of like a working relationship. And then Brit, it is interesting that everybody thought Brit was coming and then she backed out. The fact that maybe she probably rented a dress from Phadrea's friend that we saw on the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta that has like something similar to Marlowe's, like where you rent like high priced clothes for the reunion. And she's got a manicure and a pedicure just for her not to show up. And the lawsuit isn't really a lawsuit. A lot of people have been doing digging, especially when that article came out saying, or, I won't even say an article, especially when the blogs were reporting that this lawsuit was going to cause Bravo to shut down Real Housewives of, all franchises, not just specifically Atlanta. And people started digging and found out that like Brit has not filed her lawsuit. It seems like it was more so a summons. And I'm going to play the video from Giorgio Says because he did the research, but I did see Jamie That's Me. She did a video as well, and I listened to her commentary, and she went through the paperwork, and it definitely seems like what Giorgio said was actually true based off of the research that Jamie did, that pretty much Brit hasn't filed her lawsuit. She has like at least 100 and something days to file the lawsuit against Bravo. So let me play the clip from Giorgio.
Okay, let's actually talk about what Brit Eady filed, because it was not an actual $20 million lawsuit. But her comms person Shirley was excited to shop this around as clickbait where USA Today even wrote Real Housewives of Atlanta star Brit Eady sues Bravo over explicit photo. But this one was the last straw for me because I'm seeing this take off a little bit, where Radar Online is now insinuating that because of this $20 million lawsuit, that now the franchise is going to go away completely because Bravo and NBC are shaking in their boots because Brit Eady filed this lawsuit. What Brit Eady filed on June 5th was a summons with notice, not a full lawsuit. There's no index number on the summons with notice, and the case status is pre-RJI, which essentially means no judge has been assigned, there's been no serving of the defendants, and there's been no actual complaint on record. Simply put, it's not yet active in the court system because Brit has not taken the follow-up steps in getting those defendants served. She's got to actually file those things and pay for that and go through those motions, but it hasn't happened. And as of 5 minutes ago, there's been no movement since she's filed that summons with notice. Now, Brit wants $20 million in episode 5 of this current season 16 retracted because she's saying that they basically implied that she was on those graphic poster images that Kenya displayed at her hair salon opening. But here's the thing, Bravo and the production company were very, very strategic in how they edited this episode because all we saw in terms of a poster board was the first one that said, "Who is this hoe?" And it was just simply blurred out pictures of what I would assume is Brit Eady. But after that, it was very clear that when this statement came up and they were not going to show any more poster boards, even blurred out, Bravo decided they were going to step far away from it by putting up this disclaimer on episode 5 saying, due to the graphic nature of these photographs, Bravo has chosen not to exhibit them. Brit Eady's name is not mentioned in here. There is no implication that they're saying, oh, that is who it was in those graphic photos. They just didn't want any part of any of the graphic nature of the photos. Now let's get to the sexual harassment claim that she's alleging, as well as the hostile work environment part. Because in episode 14, titled Chapter 2, Renew, at the very end, where Shamea is having a very emotional moment after she finds out some bad news about her daughter, you make the moment all about yourself. And you continue to make it about yourself by willingly taking off your dress on camera in front of all the production and audio people, in front of all of the cast members, including a crying Shamea, and went into full-on showgirls moment. I mean, this screams No Me Malone. So are you going to be able to prove the production coerced you into a hostile work environment where you had to do what you did? Bottom line, guys, there's no official lawsuit, there's no legal crisis, and surely Bravo's weathered much heavier storms, so I do not believe anything about this clickbait headline. So, smells like Timu Minaj just wants a quick little payout. But what do you guys think?
So this is interesting to me, and it also makes me feel like Brit jumped the gun. It feels like she was nervous and didn't know how things were going to play out throughout the season because people already have negative feelings towards her. Because if you haven't filed the suit yet and it's just a summons, it's kind of like you put the cart before the horse, because now that we've seen you get naked on camera, we've seen you have these like aggressive outbursts towards people, it's like you contributed to the hostile environment that you're suing against. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know if she's going to go forward with it, but it is very interesting that she hasn't filed it yet. I thought it was filed the way that the news articles that I read about it and the blog posts that were posted, I thought it was, but I guess not. I guess not. So I wonder what's going to happen next for Miss Brit, okay? So continuing on with Brit and Kelli, we know in this latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, they got into it. God, they really got into it. So it's interesting because Shamea was mentioned when Brit had her sit down with Porsha and Cynthia at her house, and Shamea came back on the internet to combat that narrative, as well as Brit threw some shots at Kelli online. And then I just seen that Kelli did an interview with Bryce Sanders. So let's get into that. So first, let's talk about Miss Shamea. So Shamea said this on Instagram. She said, I was happy to be there to support my friend, who is Kelli, on one of the toughest days of her life. I'm so happy that her divorce is final. Now let's get down to business. She said, number one, I never used Kelly's stylist. Number two, I never shown lying ass Brit any text messages. Porsha and I are not going out to celebrate me having a peach was discussed at her Pampered by Porsha event. Brit is grasping for straws at this point. Number three, I never bring up what someone does or does not do with their body. Screaming someone had an abortion was out of line and way below the belt. Happy Sunday, y'all. So that was Shamea's response to Brit, which I do feel like it's so lame of her not to come to the reunion because all of this could have been addressed. Okay. So, like I said, Brit decided to respond in her own way, where she posted the outfit that she wore to Phaedra's event, and she said this, and this is why they're all mad. And it's glam style by Paris Shea, hair by BDAV, makeup by Romy Camus, and then fit by Revel, and oh, I think it's Sergio Rosa or Rosa. Honestly, this is not a cute fit on Brit. I'ma just be honest. It's not cute. I mean, Brit facial wise, beautiful. She's very pretty to me. But always being naked, especially when occasions don't need that, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay. It don't go with the fit. But let's get into what Kelli said in her interview with Bryce Sanders.
Episode that I did not look forward to. It was the one episode where I wish that if I could not take it back, but I'm just disappointed with what truly transpired and you know, very hurt by the things that were said.
You can't bring up abortion stuff. Well, she tried to call me a pill popper. Hey, if you gonna dish it, be sure to take it.
That whore-ass bitch! She's a hoe!
Is there backstory there? Did she pull this out of nowhere?
Let me just always say this. It's my body and my choice. Nothing had transpired with Brit and I where, you know, I had talked to her about abortions. I had her pick me up from an abortion. You know, like, it wasn't anything that happened between her and I where that was discussed ever out of any moment or time in our friendship. And it's hurtful that she would just blatantly come on national television and tell a lie, you know? I am a mother of 4 beautiful daughters. She's not a mother, you know, unfortunately. Yeah. And I have to now have that conversation with all of my daughters because it's something that was talked about on the show. And it's hurtful that someone that I once called a friend to me would take a lie and say that, you know, and almost would have people to believe them because we're friends, you know? So I'm curious to see, you know, and we never even got down to the bottom of it, why that statement was said.
Your hands are not clean in this situation either. You made...
No. You better talk to your motherfucking roommate. You better talk to your roommate.
Match point.
Why did that come out of your mouth?
The statement that I made, unlike hers, was very truthful. And I can back mine up, and clearly she can't. So I think, you know, to be concerned about, you know, whatever, it's the truth. Tell me when you didn't put pills on the table.
So what's interesting to me about this is I don't fault Kelli if she has had an abortion, which I think she's had, because the way that she spoke about this, she never outright said, I've never had one. She just kept saying that I've never told Brit this information. She never picked me up from a clinic. So what it sounds like to me is she had one, but never told Brit. So somebody, I think, that's in Kelli's camp told Brit. And she's standing on what she said about the pills. When I tell you both of them, I said, oh, this is getting tacky and nasty. Okay. Tacky and nasty. But continuing on with Kelli's interview with Bryce Sanders, she also talked about the reunion. So let me play that clip for you guys.
The reunion, you can't pick yourself, but who was the MVP?
Myself.
You can't pick yourself.
MVP, you know what? The MVP, I'm probably gonna give it to... Oh, that's so hard. It's so hard. I'm gonna give it... I mean, all of the ladies came and, like, took accountability. Everybody got out what they needed to say and handle what they needed to do. I just, you know... I can say, though, I sat next to Drew, and baby, she wasn't quiet not one time.
Well, so fans were very concerned about her couch seating placement, because they were like, but Drew was so in the mess this season, why is she on the end? But maybe that's so, because she had to speak to everybody, she needed to be in a position where she could.
Drew did not leave anything in the dressing room. She bought it all on the sofa, and I think she left it on the sofa.
So it seems like Drew is really going to be with it when it comes to the reunion, because even on Watch What Happens Live, which will be the next thing that we talk about, Cynthia and Angela said that Drew had props. Now we know Drew don't do well with props, but if Kelli is saying that Drew left it all up on that stage, I'm here for it. I want to see how it goes down. So let's get into Watch What Happens Live, all right? So, like I've been saying, Cynthia and Angela and Charles were featured on Watch What Happens Live last Sunday, or would it be this Sunday? I think it's last Sunday since today is Monday. And they talked about the reunion. They also had a viewer's question, and we also got some commentary from Charles. So, first, since I've been speaking about the reunion, let's talk about the reunion. So, let me play that clip for you guys first.
It's time for reunion. Ladies, for each of my probing questions, answer by picking from the bobbing heads of Angela, Cynthia, Drew, Kelli, Phadrea, Porsha, and Shamea. Who had the most to answer for, do you think?
Porsha. Yeah. Porsha.
Who do you feel that I got annoyed with the most?
It's a toss-up between, I feel, Kelli and Shamea.
Okay. I don't get annoyed. Besides each other, who had your favorite look?
I like Porsha's look, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Shamea's look.
Okay. Anyone want to say their least favorite look?
I plead the fifth.
You do? Okay.
Any more strays?
Who was the most surprised by her couch placement?
True.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Drew.
Who threw the best shade?
Drew had a lot of tricks in her bag for sure. But came with her receipts. Miss Oakley came with her receipts.
Yes,
Drew had like a whole suitcase.
She brought props. She brought props. Who shed the most tears?
Ooh. Did anyone cry?
There were tears. There were tears.
Did Porsha cry? Did Shamea cry? Maybe Shamea.
I kind of feel like they both cried. I ran out of tissues.
Yeah,
there was tears. All right, thank you both.
So it looks like Drew is coming with the shade and the receipts, and I want to see it. I wonder how Kelli and Shamea got on Andy's nerves, other than they were probably loud as hell. And I'm guessing we're not gonna see tears because they were like they don't remember anybody crying. So I don't know. I don't have any expectations like I've been saying about the reunion, but I am interested to see like how this is going to play out. The next clip I'm going to play for you guys as it pertains to Watch What Happens Live is a viewer asking Angela about how she felt about Phadrea's statements about calling her old. Okay, so let me play that for you.
First of all, you're an amazing addition to the show.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what was your reaction when Phadrea said you're the oldest looking young person she's ever met? I did not like that at all.
Neither did I. And I was wondering, did she bypass a mirror, a friend? Did she have anyone to tell her how old she looked, especially coming in? Phadrea came in looking kind of old. So I was just like, just run by a mirror. You'll be fine, Phadrea. Run by a mirror.
All right, thank you very much.
Now, I hope Angela has that same energy at the reunion because she tickled me when she said maybe Phadrea just needs to walk past a mirror. Even Andy was like, ooh, I said, yes, come on, Angela. Okay, and the last thing we're going to talk about is Charles. So Charles was asked about what the ladies, how the cast feels about his relationship with Angela. And I thought his response was telling.
Watching the show back, do you see how some of the women feel that you're not as invested in your relationship with Angela as she is with you?
Well, it's not what they feel. It's what Angela feels.
Okay. Okay.
So, it's just
Angela, what do you feel?
I mean, he is always going to be right by my side. And it was, I called him, he didn't answer. Like, I can call him right now as we speak. He won't answer.
Okay.
I don't have my phone on, it's on the charger.
He doesn't have his phone.
So, I don't know. I think I like Charles's response, but I also feel like if Charles and Angela are going to be on this show moving forward, y'all gonna have to really work on how we show up on TV, because it definitely does give that Charles is always annoyed with Angela. And like a lot of people been saying, myself included, it kind of feels like Charles is pulling a Kelsey Grammer the same way he did Camille, where he allowed Camille to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, even filmed a scene with her, and then season 2 came and divorced her. And he used her being on Beverly Hills and how much money she was making in order to not have to pay her so much in like alimony and child support. And it's kind of given that with Charles, but I could be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong, because it seems like Angela is really like committed to this man. But hopefully they get it together next season, because she's definitely going to be on next season. I even saw a couple of clips on Watch What Happens Live, or of Watch What Happens Live, where Andy was congratulating Angela on having a great first season. So sis is definitely going to be back for season 17. But that's all I got for y'all today. As always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. And like the video and subscribe. As well as be on the lookout for my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16. And I think it will be episode 17, or no, I think it'll be episode 16. Maybe 17. Y'all know when it come out, okay? But I'm out, y'all. Deuces.